And I'm going to share my screen. So, welcome to Nursing 6000. You're on the final stretch. Here we go. Just 3 more semesters and you'll be all done. You can interrupt me at any point, but I'm just going to kind of walk through these slides, and then I'll also be open for questions at the end. So this is title of the course is Nursing Administrative Practice in the Complex Healthcare Environment. It's 4 semester hours. The format is online practicum with synchronous Zoom sessions, and we do have Zooms tonight, September 30th and December 9th. The course builds on nursing and business theories for the complex healthcare environments. The focus is on interprofessional leadership competencies, issues and trends in nursing leadership, and practicum-based strategies for effective leadership. The objectives are that students will be able to synthesize theories and standards to understand complex contexts for care delivery, analyze environments impacting outcomes, integrate legal and ethical principles in advocacy and other aspects of legal and ethical principles, and to engage in interprofessional collaboration. The required resources, this just comes right out the syllabus. The ANA 2024 Nursing Leadership Scope and Standards 3rd edition. I actually uploaded the syllabus again today because I had the wrong version of this Nursing Leadership Scope and Standards book in it. They should be all available to you through Slingshot, but if you're having trouble, just let me know and I'll make sure that they're made available. Most of our work actually is going to come out of 2 of these resources. The first one is the Ledger Financial Management for Nurse Managers. The subtitle on that is Merging the Heart with a Dollar. And then there's, for the HR parts of the modules, we'll be using McConnell from 21. And then Weberg and Mangold, Leadership in Nursing Practice, takes a little more theoretical approach to leadership, and we use that periodically. I have the American Nurses Credentialing Center's magnet leadership criteria in here. It isn't anything that you have to have for the course. I'm not sure. I doubt that Slingshot can get it. American Nurses Association, which is the agency that does magnet, is very, very proprietary about those materials for magnet status. So I get the ones that we don't have to pay for. And I think you can at least get their magnet criteria. I don't have any particular content specific to magnet, but as you get into later courses, we'll talk more about magnet and what it means. And there are things that you should be aware of if you're going to be a leader in hospitals. This comes out of the syllabus. It's just a time commitment. It's no different than in every other course you're taking. So 1 credit equals 1 direct hour of instruction plus 3 hours of independent work weekly. In a Zoom, an online course, even with asynchronous Zooms, the instruction time is mostly discussion boards, also some recorded lectures and that sort of thing. And then the 3 hours is the reading and any assignments. But that's kind of the ratio of how student effort is placed on a credit hour. And then your practicum is 60 hours with a preceptor. Ideas about attendance and participation. Again, this is pretty much boilerplate for any one of the College of Nursing and Health graduate syllabuses. We expect active engagement in discussions and in your practicum. You must complete the practicum hours with a preceptor. I'm going to talk a little more about that at the end, because in this course, it's really prescriptive about what you're going to do and how many hours are associated to each one to get to 60. It'll be more open as you get into the next two courses after this, which is 6100 and 6230. Those each have 120 hours of practicum in them, and it's much more open as to what you do. This one really, we associate, you'll see in the syllabus, kind of the hours are associated with completing the assignments in the practicum. You do have to complete the practicum, as you do in any of these courses, in order to pass the class. There's a standard that we have for 10 days of non-participation equals a 1-letter grade reduction. I just put it up here, but you just need to tell me if you're not going to be available and why. This shouldn't be a cause of worry to anybody. And then your faculty, preceptor, student meetings called site visits occur at the midterm and at the final. I bring this up again a little later in the slides when I talk about the practicum in particular, but that's something that you arrange with your preceptor and me. And it's a check-in, so to speak, where I'm speaking with you and your preceptor. And we do that in this course twice, once at the midterm and then at the end. In subsequent courses, probably 6100, we'll still do it twice by the time we get to 6320. We'll only do it one time. It's an accreditation standard, we have to do it. Major assignments in this course, there's a preceptor interview and reflection. So that means the person who is your preceptor, generally a nurse in a leadership role, a higher leadership role, you will spend time with them. You also write a reflective paper based on an interview that you do with them. That's 10%. You have to write 2 position papers, count for 20% of the grade. Then also there are 4 non-nurse interviews, and there's a lot of details on that in the syllabus about who are potential people you would interview in your organization where you're doing your practicum. But they're often like the CFO, the person in charge of planning. If you have somebody involved with community engagement, that person is a good person to interview. And the interview questions go a lot about how does various things in the external environment of healthcare, that is like CMS guidelines and requirements and Joint Commission standards, economic pressures. We just recently came through the pandemic. That pretty much preoccupied all other things in the lives of people leading hospitals. But it's how do those things impact your role? That's kind of the gist of that. And it's very, I don't want to say prescriptive, but very well structured as to what questions you need to cover in your interview. So it isn't open-ended for you to figure that out. You will then do a student presentation on one of your position papers, and you do that here in the final Zoom. There's a take-home final. The only test I have in all these 3 specialty courses. The take-home final is actually a predictor exam that I created based on the American Nurses Credentialing or Certification Board, the ANCC, for their NEA and NEABC exam, and also the AONL, that's the American Organization for Nursing Leadership. They have a certification called Certified in the Executive Practice, or CEP. So it's questions out of the preparatory. I don't have access to those tests, of course, but go through the prep books and picked out different practice questions. So that's really what this test is. It's a take-home final. You have it open for a week. It's open book. We don't use lockdown browser or anything with it when you're at home. You just go ahead and answer the questions. I do grade it. We have it at 20% of the total grade. Nobody's ever run into a problem with it. But what it will do is show you where you have your knowledge at this point. But more importantly, is that I'll debrief with you after you take that exam. I'll do that individually as to things to look for where you weren't able to answer questions correctly. Most often it's because you haven't had the content yet. So, I can kind of point to you and say, well, we're going to cover that in 6100 in module 7, or we're going to cover that in 6320. but it kind of grounds students into what would it take for you to be able to successfully complete the certification exam at the upon graduation. You're not required to certify. Uh, I mean, an employer may require you to certify, but as nurse administrators, although we have advanced practice, um, we don't have a different license. Your license isn't going to change in comparison to becoming a nurse practitioner, where you have to get it past the certification test, send that evidence of your successful completion to the Michigan Board of Nursing, and they give you an advanced practice license kind of addendum to your license. So, for example, I was a nurse for 40 years at least before I became a nurse practitioner, but my license number never changed. I just have a second license. We don't have any of that for nurse leaders. Your license will remain the same license you have now, but there are some real advantages to certification. And later in the curriculum, I'm going to talk to you a lot more about that. So that take-home final isn't so much over the content of the course. It's a predictor exam for where you stand now if you were having to take a certification exam at that time. That's all there is really to be said about that. Online discussions account for 25%. And then the practicum tracking, which will be in Project Concert, and the evaluations, which again you put through Project Concert, are, quote, pass-fail, because you have to complete the hours and you have to do those things in order to complete the course, but there's no grade. Made this assignment timeline for you, kind of the big things that we need. So in week 6, you'll have your preceptor interview and reflection due. Now that's on the week of September 28th through October 5th. I've built the whole thing around the idea that you'll start your practicum the week like of the 15th of September. If for some reason you're delayed, then I'm going to let you delay your submission on the preceptor interview. But if you've started it, that would be one of the first things you do in your practicum, is do the interview with your preceptor and then complete that assignment. There's your first position paper is due in week 10. Oh, I skipped over week 7. Your first position paper is due in week 7. Your second one is due in week 10. And then the non-nurse interviews, the 4 interviews of people in leadership positions in your host organization who are not nurses, or at least not in a specific nursing role. They may be nurses. I mean, there are nurses leading strategic planning. There are nurses leading community engagement and all kinds of different things. But it's meant not in a CNO or nursing director role, in a role that could be occupied by someone other than a nurse. Week 13, you'll do your presentation of one of your position papers, and you'll get to choose which one. And then you can start the take-home exam week 15. And then in week 16, we'll have a final review of the exam and a discussion. But I will do that in a general way, but I will also individually talk to you. Generally, I do it in the first week of the winter semester. I'll set up an individual call with you or a Zoom, and we'll go over your test and talk about the areas you were strong in and the areas where you're going to be looking for development, and also point out to you where you get that in the curriculum. Course schedule highlights. So we kind of chunk it out. The first 3 weeks are about leadership and management foundations. Weeks 4 through 7, we focus in on finance and organizational challenges. Weeks 8 through 11, we deal with legal and ethical issues in healthcare. Everything from HR law, HIPAA, aspects of like Obamacare kind of stuff, and then ethical issues as well. Weeks 12 through 14 are the interviews, completing all of them, and the presentations, and then weeks 15 to 16 is the final exam and review. What are the expectations to be successful? You have to complete the readings before the discussion. We want you to think critically, synthesize the information, and apply the knowledge. This is typical graduate level expectations. Engage actively in practicum and in the discussions, and to maintain professionalism and the Franciscan values, we're going a little fast, at all times. Here they are in a different format: 60 hours of practicum with your preceptor, weekly tracking and project concert. Attendance is required for all scheduled hours. We don't really schedule hours, whereas nurse practitioner students do. But attendance, when your preceptor expects you to be there, we expect you to be there if you can, or at least notify them why. You'll have midterm and final evaluations with the preceptor and faculty. That's the site visits I talked about. You do have to pass the practicum, complete it, in order to pass the course. It is a hands-on experience. So whereas when you're an undergrad and you did maybe your immersion course and so forth, it was a lot of shadowing. We're no longer going to accept experiences that are just shadowing. You need to be engaged. Now, in the first course, we kind of fix that for you because we give you direct assignments about doing interviews and various things. But as you get further along, you're going to be involved actually hands-on in quality improvement activities and different things. So we've kind of moved out of the level of just shadowing and watching others do work. And now you'll be actually actively engaged in it. And we can talk more about that if you have questions, but I think it's pretty clear. And then, of course, professionalism and communication always. Well, I got through that pretty quick. I thought that was going to take longer. I just made this little grid today of all of you and practicum details. So I filled in Evan's. Evan, did you finalize anything yet with Katie? Have you had a contact with Katie?
Yeah, she actually just got back to me today, and I have an initial meeting with her September 10th, I believe.
Perfect.
Was
That sounds
after
great.
get that situated.
Yeah, what was your impression?
She seems really nice. She seems busy, um, but I'm excited to see how this first meeting goes.
Good. Yeah. And then a number of you I've talked to about preceptors. Sarah, did you do anything with that lady out at West Bloomfield?
I didn't because I actually got a hold of Nicholas at Trinity
In
Livonia.
Livonia, Nick
Yep. So,
Nicolaopoulos?
yep. So he said that he would definitely do it. I'm just trying to get a hold of him now for an actual date.
Oh, good.
But same thing. He's super busy.
Yeah, they're all busy.
hmm
So when I talked to Nick, he said he'd take two. He's really a very accommodating guy, a great guy. Um, so for, and that's working on one in her organization. So Matt or Tom, have you got any idea? Matt, you told me something, but of course, right now, end of the day, my brain isn't firing on every cylinder. I don't remember what you told me you were working on.
Yeah, I actually have it all set up. I'm going to be working with our vice president of clinical. Her name's Pam Lorenz.
Excellent. And what's the name of that organization?
Metalodge.
Oh, it is MediLives. Yeah, I knew that. You and Sarah at MediLives. Okay. Pam, a nurse?
Yes,
Okay. Would you say she was? What's the title? I just so I can put it in here.
she's our VP of clinical.
Good. That'll be great. Tom, you got any ideas?
Frankly, I have one request to Mr. Michael Markle, and
Oh, yeah.
it didn't seem promising in the first conversation, frankly. And it's nothing personal. It was just like, I've done a lot. I just don't think I'm in the right position. But he's going to review. But honestly, I've been trying to find a plan B, and I'm telling you, it's lonely when you are a single employee.
Yeah.
I am really reaching out to people. Drive. So if this one falls through, I'm going to continue to work, but I am struggling.
Yeah. Well, we can just keep Nick over in Livonia in the background for you? Because I think Nat's going to come up with something at Corwell.
You definitely, you can
Okay.
slot me right in. I'm gonna tell you that 100%.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just send you his contact info then tomorrow.
Fantastic. God bless. Thank you.
Yeah. I think I'm misspelling his name tonight, but we'll just say Nick at Trinity Health, Livonia. All right. So there are things you got to do in this slide. You know, I'm going to post the slide deck into the module for week 1, so you don't have to try to memorize this now. And you need to do a preceptor agreement. Some of you have been in practica where you've done them, and some of you have not. In the portal on the students page, there's a thing called Find My Forms, and you go in there, and you'll see a lot of different things. But you want to go for a preceptor agreement, and you don't want the one for NP students. You want the one that's called administrative specialties. And the difference is, for the NP preceptors, we have to know their certification number, when it expires, you know, their license number, all kinds of things. We don't have that specificity in this agreement. We need to know that they're nurses. I don't believe we ask for their license number because we could always check the state if we wanted to. I generally know most of the people you end up precepting with, so I know they're legit. And we don't need to know. The other thing is we have to know about the NP faculty's medical malpractice policy number, actually, and who they're insured with. We don't need to know all that. So it is to everybody's advantage if you pick the right preceptor agreement, and that's called administrative specialties. It's in Find My Form on the MU Portal Student tab. Need to get that in before you start your practicum. I don't mind too much if you get it signed, because the preceptor has to sign it on your first visit with them. It's ideal if you can email it over to them and have them fill it out and then send it to me. There's a very important piece of information on that thing that we need to have more than their phone number. We need to know their work email address, because it's the work email address that I use to enter them into Project Concert, and that all of the evaluation tools will go automatically to them if we know their work email address. So just a tip, you got to get the work email address for me. You should complete the whole form, and we need their signature. Generally, it works out fine if you get started about mid-September in your practicum. I will schedule you and your preceptor, and I will have to agree on a time to do a site visit. Site visits can be on site. You know, I will come to your site when you're there and meet with you and your preceptor. The meeting will take 15 minutes, something like that. It's, as I said earlier, an accreditation standard. And what we're having to verify, it's our accreditation, you know, the university accreditation standard, that when students are out in the field and sending back information about what we're doing, we actually have a way to verify that it's accurate information, your hours and your activity. So I'm really looking to see if you're achieving what you're sending me through Project Concert actually is valid. And then I'm interested in knowing kind of how things are going and what's happening. If there are ever problems, you need to let me know, and we would do some individual work around that. You know, conflicts, can't get along with my preceptor, it's not a welcoming environment, that kind of a thing. I've never had that happen in administration. I have had that happen with NP students, but I've never had that happen with administration students, but it could. So, you know, just because we do 2 site visits, don't feel in any way suppressed from reaching out to me if you perceive that there's a problem in the way things are working in your practicum, because we will switch you to somebody else, but it just will. So we do one about midterm and then one close to the end, like week 14 or so. You will record your hours and activity descriptions in Project Concert each day that you're at your practicum. And I think we've been over this. How much do I need to show you guys about Project Concert and how to enter hours? I'm trying to remember. Have you been doing it? We didn't do it in 60/20.
I'm
You
all
should
set.
have done it in 52 in the informatics. You did in informatics, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So if any of you get stumped, just reach out to me. I'll help you. I have to relearn Project Concert practically every semester. I mean, I know the basics that I do, but when we get into things, and I have things that you don't have to worry about, is once those evaluations come in, it's a rather complex way I have to go in and extract that information. I don't remember it. I have to go back and look at my references. I have to bother other faculty who do it more than I do, like Dr. Reynolds, and you know, sometimes I reach out to the company, all to say, don't be reluctant. I won't think badly of you if you don't remember how to do it. I struggle with it too. So just let me know and I'll make sure you get the help you need. Remember, there's always that little icon up in the upper left of it, practically every screen. I think it looks like a little house, but they'll have pre-recorded videos on how to do whatever it is you're trying to do. In most places, it's generally correct, but it's not 100%. All right. So all evaluations are completed. The ones you complete are grad faculty teaching a theory course. The MSN theory course, it says on ground, even though we're not. That's just what the name of the evaluation form. Those are ad hoc evals that you send to yourself. They aren't scheduled. When you go into your landing page in the course, you will see, and you scroll down to find the evaluation areas, you will see these already in Project Concert, and there will be a button that says ad hoc, and you click it, and it will send the evaluation to you. Then you get an alert next time you log into, or even you just refresh and Project Concert will be there, and you click on accept, and away you go, and you just do it online, and it's really quick. The student self-evaluation of practicum is also another one of those. Your preceptor gets a scheduled link near the end of the course that just automatically shoots out from Project Concert to them. And I get an alert if we get into week 15 and I don't have them back, then I need to go talk to your preceptor and see if they're having trouble. If you find your preceptor has trouble with Project Concert, contact me. I will help them. Because once I have all of their preceptor agreement information and their email address, I will send them an invitation, so to speak, generated actually out of Project Concert, tells them how to log in, how to get started, how to do things. They get information about it. We don't rely on you to teach them Project Concert. We'll do that. So if they tell you, I can't deal with Project Concert, which don't be too surprised if you hear that. That's the trigger for you to say, I'll talk to faculty and they'll get back to you, and I will. That's all you got to do. I don't want to burden you with trying to navigate that. I mean, if you feel like it, you can, fine, but I don't think that's your burden to bear. So in 30 minutes, that's kind of what I had to say tonight. Any questions?
I'm all set. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good.
Yep,
Great.
I'm good.
Well,
Thanks, Professor.
all right. So the other thing I wanted to show you, although it seems like everybody's moving along pretty good. Let's see if I can stop this share. And let's get on here. I want to show you something I put in the course. I did this for the first time for a DMP course. All righty. I had it opened up and I didn't. Just take me a second. Hold on. Okay. Okay. So this is the way I try to set up my blackboards all the same, but they still have some variability. In the start here section, is where you find the syllabus. Start here. Course objectives, faculty bio. Same content basically I just gave you, but that's where it is. What I wanted to show you, come back here, is down here is the weekly prep course documents. Those are the modules. I should probably rename them. Module 0 has kind of helpful things in it. And the only thing you've got right now in Module 0 are these practicum preceptor materials. I've got 3 things in there for you, and they are all about getting a preceptor, although I'm happy to hear how far everybody's coming. One thing that the students in another course that I teach in the DMP curriculum that where they have to get a preceptor, and they were very reluctant, is to give them a script. What would you say? It's preparing. So there it is, outreach script. So this is custom to 6,000. So you could use this if anybody wants to know. And here is something you may want to take to your preceptor at your first visit that just summarizes what does a preceptor do? Down here, role of the preceptor. Who do you contact and all that? I appreciate it if you would give that to your preceptor. And then, much like the script, which is meant for more like a phone conversation, here's an email template where sometimes you're just doing cold calls. And you know, this is going to come up 2 more times because you got to get a preceptor for 6,100 and a preceptor for 6,320. This is a helpful thing. And this is custom for 6,000. It will look different for 6,100, but I'll make one in 6,320. What I found is students are really concerned that people are not going to want to take them on unless they have a personal connection to them. That generally is not the case. Now, your experience, Tom, with Mike Markle, he just moved over to a position. He retired from his position, well, so to speak, retired at Henry Ford, where he was the chief nurse, chief operating officer at Macomb. And he went to the home office and he's doing something really quite different in operations and a lot of supply chain stuff. And I kind of see why he maybe was like, yeah, I don't know if this is a great fit, meaning his role, not meaning you, meaning his role. I don't know, you know, because he's had our students before. He's a graduate of our MSN MBA program. He kind of knows what you need. And I think what he was probably trying to tell you is I'm not the right guy.
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
Fully agree with
and
that.
that is absolutely legit. I get it. But in any event, most nurse execs, we've all, I still think of myself from when I was in those roles. We always take preceptors if we possibly can, because we're trying to develop leadership of the future. We're thinking about, it's kind of a responsibility to the profession. Yes, we take students. Yes, we're happy to take them. The woman I spoke with, and I don't even know the lady, who's the VP out at Henry Ford West Bloomfield, sent me back I sent her kind of a communication. First, I did it through LinkedIn and said, hey, I'm a program director, blah, blah, blah. I've got students. Would you ever consider it? And it was within, hours. She's responded, oh, great to meet you. And yes, absolutely. I'll take your students, blah, blah, blah. It's unusual to get somebody reluctant. Now, Sarah ran into a situation up in Howell where I was trying to facilitate her something up close to home, and we couldn't get the lady to call us back. And I thought, well, that's odd. And as somebody I'd never heard of, I had a lot of time in Trinity, although it's been 10 years, 12 years. Turns out she's a consultant in there just doing contract work as the CNO. Oh, she's, a whole different level of engagement. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I see. So when I talked to Katie about Evan, because he was looking for somebody and has been at Livonia before, so wanted something different. I just, said to Katie, we were trying to get a hold of this lady in Livonia. She wouldn't even call us back. And she's very professional. And I know Katie a little bit. I don't know her real well, and we were both being very professional. But the message came back, yeah, I'm not surprised. It was kind of like, I'm sorry you had that experience with us. She's a contractor. I'm like, I got it. Because they're doing a lot right now in Livingston County because they're opening a new hospital. So they needed some horsepower up there because Katie's technically the CNO over both Ann Arbor and Livonia. Ann Arbor and Livingston. But in any event, that's all. That was a very unusual non-response we got from her. So don't anticipate those kinds of problems. But just to kind of help you, if it is helpful, make that introduction. I've just given you some templates to work with there. I don't think there's anything else I need to show you tonight. Glad you're all here. Everybody made it through the summer. You have a big day coming up. When is your wedding, Evan?
September 13th.
Are you going local or are you doing a destination wedding?
It'll be in Detroit. And then we're taking our honeymoon in Portugal.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Are you going to Lisbon or Porto, or where are you going?
It'll be Lisbon, and so we'll spend about a week in Lisbon, and then we'll do a week in the Azores, which is like the islands off of Portugal.
Yeah. You ever been over there?
I had a layover for like 24 hours in Portugal a couple years ago, but not any quantity time there. So I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. And a good time of the year to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great. Yep. We'll miss you while you're gone, but let me know if I need to do anything to help you
Okay. Thank you.
with the workload and all that. Yeah. Okay. I guess that's it. I don't need to waste any more of your time. You're all done, right? You're all set?
Yep. Thanks, Professor.
Yes.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
one.
Dr. Lauterbach.
Thank
You guys have a great night.
See you guys.
Do the same.
Yeah. Bye-bye.